But beauty school never taught me that, but my trainer never mentioned this. Well, this is things I hear every day working with salon owners, med spa owners, etc. My name is Jake Randolph. I helped over 5,000 beauty professionals since 2017. Today I want to talk about 4 things that beauty school didn't teach you. Now, this is not a video bashing beauty schools or trainers or anything like that. This is just 4 things I commonly see that a lot of people don't realize. And so, number 1 is, how to advertise. Like, when do I advertise? When do I start? How soon should I start before our opening? And my business partner, Tony Cruz, he actually talked about this on one of our recent classes where his wife was a permanent makeup artist and an esthetician. And she did not start advertising until after she opened. And the reason this was really bad is because we all know that, you have to put in money, you have to invest, you have to put in energy to open up a studio or a salon, but then all of a sudden when you don't have clients out the gate, it's really bad because you're not making any money, but the bills are still rolling in. So long story short, start advertising now if you're not already, or if you're about to open a place or go on your own. Start pre-advertising about 2 to 4 weeks before you open on Facebook, Instagram, Google Ads. And I have other videos on my YouTube about advertising, so I'm not going to go too in depth on that. Number 2, taxes. Now, taxes are a beast on their own because, you can be doing great, making all this money, but then you realize like, oh crap, I owe the government too much. I don't have enough in my accounts. Speaking of accounts, always have separate business and personal accounts. Now, if you don't, when you get to your bookkeeper, or your tax or accountant, or you're doing it yourself, you're going to realize like, oh, I have all these expenses here and there, and this card and that card and this account. And before you know it, you're either wasting tons of time and energy trying to find every little expense and organize it, and it's keeping you from doing other things, or 2, you're just missing out on tax write-offs. Now, what is a tax write-off? That's where, you can say, well, this was an expense, I use this for business, and therefore I shouldn't have to pay tax on that, on that revenue or that profit. And by the way, guys, I'm not an accountant. This is not tax advice. This is just my experience from over the past 8 years in business, working with not only my own businesses, but also my clients. But also, when it comes to write-offs, a lot of people don't realize that education is a write-off. So you can take, let's say a course, or you could come to one of my masterminds here at the beach, and that is a write-off. So you would save on taxes doing that. Also, a lot of people don't realize you can write off a home office. Whether that's your computer, a certain space, a certain percentage of square foot in your house, or if you're renting a house, even better. But I'm not going to go too much into taxes. That could be a separate video. If you guys are interested in that video, let me know below in the comments. And number 3, I don't think beauty schools really do a good job at setting precedents of like what mindset and attitude you really have to have as an entrepreneur. I call it the relentless attitude. It's the same thing like Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant had in basketball. Like, you have to be relentless. There's going to be tough days every day. There's going to be challenges. You're going to be afraid to invest in certain things. You're going to be afraid to, take chances. But guess what? The people who live by fear and the people who don't take chances, have you ever heard of those people? Probably not, unless it's an immediate family member. Because guess what? Nobody hears about those people because haven't done anything with their life. And so you've got to be able to, handle the stress essentially. And some tips I have for that is, 1, keep things in perspective. Instead of being like, oh, I got to do this and I got to do that, and I feel so stressed and I feel so pressured. Take a step back and be like, you know what? I'm so blessed to have this opportunity. I'm so blessed to be an entrepreneur. I'm so blessed that we have cell phones where I can literally reach out to potential clients. I have, you can sit here and watch me on YouTube. You can learn from some of the best marketers in the world on YouTube for free. So there's so many blessings you can do, and just count your blessing basically and keep things in perspective. One thing I learned from Tony Robbins, he's like a mentor and life coach. You may have seen him on Netflix recently, but he talks about every single morning he does what's called priming his brain. He gets up and he meditates on 3 different things. He thinks about what are 3 things I can be grateful for, and he doesn't just say like, oh, well, I'm grateful for my house and my wife. And no, he gets in the moment and he thinks back like, okay, what's a great time that I had? So maybe he thinks back to the day of his wedding. Or maybe he thinks back to the day his kid graduated high school, or whatever great moments you have in your life, go back and reimagine them. And the other thing he does is he thinks about moments in the future that could happen. And so maybe your dream is to speak on stage one day at a conference. Well, instead of just being like, well, I hope that happens, imagine yourself on stage. What would that feel like? How would people react? What admiration would you get? What example would that set for your family? And so really feel those feelings inside live the moment, and then that's going to inspire you for the rest of the day. And number 4, I don't think beauty schools or trainers really have time to teach you how to sell. You know, I think coming out the gate when you start a new business, you're like, oh, okay, if I build it, they will come, just from like that movie, right? So, you know, it's easy to think like, okay, we got, you know, I got a website, so people are going to go book, or I have a service, so everybody's going to flock to it because it's special to you. But guess what? Most people don't know you from Joe Blow down the road, and so you've got to figure out how do I get in front of people, and that's with ads, and 2, once I get in front of somebody, how do I build rapport? How do I build connection? How do I get them interested in my service enough to commit? And especially if you're in a competitive marketing, this is so important. And so one of the key tactics I want to mention in this video is ask questions. If you're in sales, you may have heard always listen and shut up. And the reason for that is you got to get to know your prospect. You got to get to know your client. And so whether you're messaging them or on the phone, ask them questions, get to know what their pain points are. What are they looking for? This is all great information because now you can prescribe to them versus just pushing your service. You can actually give them what they need versus, you know, what you want to give them. You're serving your clients. By the way, you know, sales is such a hard thing for, you know, beauty businesses, and it's really a skill that you've got to hone, and you know, something that you've really got to train on. And so if you want our sales script for completely free, this is a sales script we used to sell for thousands of dollars. If you want it for completely free, you know, email me or, you know, shoot me a message. We'll put a link below as well. And I've actually got that sales script in my book. And so I want to send you guys a digital copy free of charge. Or if you want the physical copy, you can get one free too. I just ask that you pay for shipping. So that sales script is in there. There's content ideas, etc. But anyways, those were 4 things that I think that beauty schools don't really teach. And like I said, guys, I'm not here to bash beauty schools. I'm just here to help you guys out. And so if you enjoyed the video, let me know below in the comments, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you in the next one.